Welcome to Starbound Valor HFY. Subscribe now and dive into daily epic sci-fi adventures where humanity always rises. The galaxy had watched Earth for a long time. Humans were loud on their own planet, but silent beyond it. They sent small probes. They built weak stations. They never showed fear, but they never showed power either. To the great empires of the stars, that silence looked like weakness. And weakness always invited conquest. The alien armada appeared at the edge of the solar system without warning. Thousands of ships slid out of dark space like shadows given form. Their hulls were black and sharp, built for war, not travel. They moved in perfect order, calm and confident. This fleet had ended worlds before. Earth was expected to be no different. From the command ship, the alien commander observed the blue dot in the distance. Earth looked small, fragile. The humans had detected the fleet, that much was clear. Their satellites reacted. Their signals increased. But no message came. No threat. No plea. Nothing. The silence amused the aliens. "They are afraid," one officer said. "They do not even speak." The commander did not answer. He had studied humans. A young species. Divided. Slow. Their weapons were outdated compared to the Empire's technology. The plan was simple. Pass Mars. Slow the fleet. Then strike Earth with full force. The planet would surrender within hours. Across the solar system, human leaders watched the same images. The alien fleet filled their screens. It blocked out stars. It moved with purpose. But the humans did not panic. No alarms screamed. No cities evacuated. Deep under Earth's surface, systems older than nations came online. Machines that had never been tested in real war woke from long sleep. The aliens reached the orbit of Jupiter. Still no message from Earth. The commander smiled. This was always the same. Fear first. Confusion second. Destruction last. As the fleet moved inward, something strange happened. Long-range sensors began to flicker. Data came late. Star maps shifted by small amounts. Officers blamed solar interference. The commander allowed it. Mars was close now. Once they passed it, Earth would be helpless. Mars appeared ahead, red and silent. The fleet slowed slightly, preparing to adjust formation. That was when the first ship died. There was no warning. No energy spike. No visible weapon. One moment the ship existed. The next moment it folded inward, crushed by a force that did not care about shields or armor. It vanished in a flash of light and twisted metal. The bridge went silent. "What happened?" the commander demanded. No one answered. Another ship screamed alarms before it shattered. Then another. The fleet broke formation as panic spread. Sensors failed completely. Space itself seemed wrong. Distances changed. Signals echoed back distorted. On Earth, a single human officer watched the display. His face was calm. "Phase 1 complete," he said softly. The alien commander finally understood. This was not an ambush at Earth. This was a trap set far away. Mars was not a target. Mars was a line. And the fleet had crossed it. Gravity around the armada shifted. Not naturally. Artificial wells pulled ships apart. Some collided with each other. Others were torn open from the inside. Weapons fired blindly, hitting nothing. Orders were shouted, ignored, lost in chaos. "Retreat!" the commander shouted. The command never reached half the fleet. Human interference drowned their signals. Drones appeared, small and silent, moving too fast to track. They did not chase. They selected. One ship at a time disappeared. From Earth, no one cheered. This was not revenge. This was procedure. Humans had learned long ago that survival required preparation. They had hidden their strength behind weakness. They let the galaxy believe what it wanted. The alien commander watched his empire die in pieces. Pride turned to fear. Fear turned to understanding. Earth had never been unguarded. Earth had simply been patient. As the last surviving ships tried to escape, space around them went dark. A final human weapon activated, unseen and unstoppable. The remaining vessels froze in place, powerless. Then, at last, Earth spoke. A simple signal reached every alien ship, every listening world beyond. You entered restricted space. This engagement is over. The commander closed his eyes as his ship shut down. The fleet that came to end Earth never saw the planet they came to conquer. The galaxy did not fear Earth before the invasion. It studied it, measured it, and dismissed it. In the great records of space, Earth was listed as noisy but harmless. Humans argued among themselves. They fought small wars. They polluted their own world and struggled to leave it. To ancient empires, this behavior marked a species far from dangerous. Power, the galaxy believed, always announced itself. Humans did not. For centuries, stronger civilizations watched Earth's slow rise. They saw chemical rockets and fragile stations. They saw humans celebrate tiny steps as great victories. When humans reached their moon, the galaxy barely noticed. When humans sent probes beyond their system, the galaxy smiled. These were children touching the dark for the first time. Children did not scare empires. Other species showed strength early. They built war fleets before cities. They burned rivals to prove dominance. Humans did none of that. They explored quietly. They mapped space slowly. They sent messages filled with music and hope instead of threats. To seen eyes, this was softness. To unseen eyes, it was caution. The alien empire that led the invasion had crushed dozens of worlds. They learned one rule through blood. Weak species begged. Strong species threatened. Humans did neither. Earth stayed silent. That silence was labeled fear. The Empire shared this belief across the stars. Earth would fall quickly. The fleet would return victorious. In the Galactic Council chambers, observers watched the invasion unfold. Holograms showed the massive armada moving inward. Representatives nodded in agreement. This was expected. Some turned away, already bored. Earth's end would be quick and unimportant. They did not know Earth's history. Humans had nearly destroyed themselves many times. Nuclear fire almost ended them. Disease nearly wiped them out. Climate chaos tested their survival. Each time, humans learned. Each time, they adapted. They did not forget pain. They recorded it. They planned around it. Survival was not a theory to them. It was memory. When humans first imagined alien threats, they did not dream of heroes. They imagined extinction. So they prepared not for glory, but for the worst day possible. Governments argued in public, but cooperated in secret. Nations competed, but shared one fear. Something stronger would come. So humans hid. They built defenses deep under oceans and mountains. They placed weapons in empty orbits and silent moons. They trained systems to think faster than any living mind. They designed tools that did not shine or announce power. Everything was quiet. Everything was patient. To the galaxy, Earth looked slow because humans chose to be slow. Faster travel existed, but they limited it. Stronger signals were possible, but they reduced them. Humans understood one truth others ignored. Loud civilizations attract attention. Quiet ones choose when to speak. As the alien fleet died near Mars, the Galactic Council shifted from boredom to confusion. Data streams showed impossible events. Ships vanishing. Physics breaking. No visible weapons. No human fleet in sight. Observers argued. Some blamed errors. Others accused secret allies. No one said the truth aloud. Earth was not weak. Earth was hidden. The alien survivors drifted in powerless ships, finally seeing what they had ignored. Human technology was not flashy. It was precise. It did not chase enemies. It waited. It did not threaten worlds. It removed threats. Across the galaxy, old records were reopened. Analysts reviewed human behavior again. This time, they noticed patterns. Humans avoided conflict unless cornered. Humans studied enemies before striking. Humans valued preparation over pride. These were not traits of prey. These were traits of hunters who refused to rush. On Earth, leaders watched the galactic reactions quietly. They did not celebrate. They did not broadcast victory. They knew something important had changed. The galaxy was now afraid. Fear brought attention. Attention brought risk. A human general spoke to the council. "They thought us weak because we survived chaos," he said. "But chaos taught us control." Beyond known space, older beings listened. They had watched Earth longer than most. They had seen humans choose restraint again and again. One ancient voice spoke into the dark. "The young ones learned early," it said. "The quiet species is often the last one standing." As the news spread, empires recalled fleets. Borders tightened. Trade routes shifted away from the solar system. Earth was no longer ignored. It was avoided. The galaxy had made a mistake. It believed strength must be shown to exist. Humans proved the opposite. Strength could be buried. Strength could wait. Strength could sleep until needed. And somewhere beyond Mars, the wreckage of the alien armada drifted in silence, a warning written in broken metal. Earth had never asked to be feared. But now, the galaxy understood something too late. Silence did not mean surrender. Silence meant preparation. The galaxy struggled to understand what had happened near Mars. Reports came in broken pieces. Sensors showed impossible readings. Physics behaved like a lie. Ships that could survive stars were torn apart without warning. Still, many refused to believe Earth had done this alone. They searched for hidden allies, secret ancient weapons, anything that fit old beliefs. Anything except the truth. On Earth, there was no celebration. Cities stayed quiet. People went to work. Children went to school. The sky looked the same. Only deep below the surface did activity rise. Facilities that officially did not exist opened sealed doors. Lights turned on in halls untouched for decades. Human silence continued, but it was no longer empty. It was focused. Earth's leaders gathered in secure chambers. Screens showed the remains of the alien fleet drifting near Mars. Every movement was tracked. Every signal was analyzed. Humans did not ask if more enemies would come. They assumed they would. That assumption shaped everything they had built. Long before the invasion, humans had accepted a hard truth. Space was not fair. There would be no warning. No equal fights. If something came for Earth, it would come to end it. So humans prepared to make sure that first attack would also be the last. The galaxy believed humans were divided. In public, that was true. Nations argued. Politics shifted. But beneath the noise, there was agreement. Survival came first. Old rivalries ended when extinction entered the conversation. Plans were written not for victory, but for endurance. Earth's true defenses were not ships waiting in orbit. They were systems woven into space itself. Gravity control arrays showed no power signatures. Energy collectors hid inside natural radiation. Weapons did not point outward. They waited for intrusion. Once crossed, retreat became impossible. Human engineers learned to think like disasters. They asked how stars killed planets, how space tore matter apart. Then they copied those forces, controlled them, and buried them. The result was not flashy. It was final. As alien survivors drifted helplessly, human analysts watched without emotion. This phase was expected. Panic always followed shock. Confusion always created mistakes. The humans had designed their response around that pattern. They did not rush to finish the enemy. Time itself was a weapon. Across the galaxy, whispers spread. Some races began to understand. They reviewed human myths and stories. Tales of monsters defeated not by strength, but by patience. Stories of traps, endurance, and long waits. These were not stories of prey. These were lessons passed quietly across generations. A human officer reviewed an old file marked simply Silence Doctrine. It described Earth strategy in one sentence. Never show full strength unless there is no other choice. The invasion had removed choice. Near Mars, a new human system activated. It did not attack. It observed. It learned. It recorded how alien technology seemed under pressure. Every failure taught humans more. Even in defense, humans planned for future threats. The alien commander, trapped and powerless, finally understood Earth's silence. It was not fear. It was discipline. Humans did not shout warnings because warnings revealed position. Humans did not threaten because threats revealed intent. Humans waited because waiting revealed the enemy. On Earth, a message was drafted but not sent. It contained no anger, no pride, only facts. Humans debated its wording carefully. Words could shape the future as much as weapons. In the end, they chose to remain quiet. The galaxy had already heard enough. Older civilizations began sharing stories among themselves. Long ago, some had chosen quiet paths too. Most abandoned them for pride and display. Humans had not. They had survived chaos without becoming it. That frightened the galaxy more than any fleet ever could. Deep space observers finally spoke. Ancient beings who had watched Earth since its early days released a single analysis to trusted channels. Human silence is not absence, it said. It is containment. As weeks passed, Earth did not expand borders. It did not demand tribute. It did not chase fleeing enemies. This confused many. Power usually demanded recognition. Humans demanded distance. Behind closed doors, Earth systems remained active. Nothing was powered down. Nothing was dismantled. Humans knew the galaxy was watching now. Watching brought testing. Testing brought danger. A young human analyst asked an older commander why Earth had hidden for so long. The commander answered simply, "Because the first strike decides everything. And we wanted it to be ours." Near Mars, wreckage continued to drift. No cleanup ships arrived. Humans left it there on purpose. A silent lesson written in debris. The galaxy slowly accepted a new reality. Earth's silence had never been weakness. It had been restraint. And restraint suggests control. Control, earned through survival, is the most dangerous strength of all. The galaxy waited for Earth to advance. That was how wars usually continued. A victory demanded movement. Borders expanded. Fleets marched forward. But Earth did nothing. The solar system remained sealed, quiet, and distant. This confused military minds across known space. Power without pursuit felt unnatural. Near Mars, the battlefield remained frozen in time. Wrecked alien ships drifted slowly, locked in invisible fields. Some still held living crews, trapped but unharmed. Humans allowed it. Panic and suffering were not the goal. Control was. The message was clear to anyone who understood war. Earth had stopped the fight exactly where it wanted. Hidden platforms around Mars adjusted their position silently. They did not glow or emit signals. They moved like thoughts, unseen until noticed. Human systems continued to study the remains of the alien fleet. Every material, every circuit, every failure was recorded. The battle was still teaching them. The alien empire's outer colonies received the truth late. Their great fleet was gone. Not defeated in glorious combat, but erased without warning. Commanders across their territory tried to understand how. Their simulations failed. Their doctrines collapsed. Nothing prepared them for an enemy that did not announce itself. Some demanded revenge. Others demanded retreat. None could agree. The empire had been built on visible dominance. Earth had shattered that belief in a single moment. On Earth, military councils reviewed timelines. The invasion had ended exactly as predicted. Every phase occurred within expected limits. The lack of surprise did not bring comfort. It brought confirmation. More fleets would come. Curiosity always followed fear. Human engineers began adjusting systems based on real data. Small improvements. Quiet changes. No speeches. No celebrations. The battle had never been about victory. It had been about proving a boundary. The alien survivors near Mars attempted communication. Their signals were weak and broken. Some begged. Some threatened. Some tried to bargain. Humans listened but did not respond. Words could wait. Actions had already spoken. Deep within Earth's defense network, An artificial intelligence reviewed millions of possible future paths. Most showed the same pattern. Testing attacks. Probes. Small fleets sent to measure Earth's response. Humans prepared for all of them. Not with anger, but with patience. The galaxy's older races began to speak in private councils. They remembered species like this. Ones that did not expand. Ones that did not boast. Ones that survived while others burned themselves out. Earth fit the pattern too well to ignore. An ancient strategist from a long-lived race summarized it simply. They stopped the war before it began. The phrase spread. The battle that never reached Earth became a warning across star charts. New navigational maps marked the solar system with special symbols. Not danger. Finality. Mars itself became part of the story. Once considered a dead world, it was now known as a line that should never be crossed. Traders altered routes. Explorers turned back. No one wanted to test what waited beyond that red planet. On Earth, people slowly learned fragments of the truth. Governments released limited information. There had been an encounter. It was handled. Life continued. Humans trusted their defenders without needing details. This quiet trust was another strength the galaxy did not understand. The alien commander remained imprisoned in his disabled ship. He replayed the battle again and again. He saw the mistake clearly now. Earth had never been the battlefield. Space itself had been weaponized. The fight was lost the moment they entered. He recorded a final message to his people. "Do not return," he said. "This is not a world you conquer. This is a world you survive by avoiding." The message spread through fractured channels. Many refused to believe it. Pride fought reality. Pride always lost, eventually. As time passed, human defenses slowly relaxed but never slept. Layers remained active. Traps stayed armed. Silence continued. Earth did not announce victory because victory was not the point. Survival was. The galaxy began to adjust. Fleets stayed farther from the solar system. Diplomatic tones softened. Earth had changed the rules without writing them down. The battle near Mars faded from headlines but not from memory. It became a lesson taught in war academies and whispered in trade halls. Not all wars are fought with fleets. Some are ended before the first shot is seen. And Earth remained where it had always been. Quiet. Watching. Waiting. Fear spread slowly through the galaxy, but when it arrived, it stayed. At first, it was disbelief. Then confusion. Finally, understanding. The alien armada had not faced defenders. It had walked into hunters. This realization changed everything. The word predator carried a different meaning among the stars. Predators announced themselves. They chased. They dominated through force. Humans did none of that. Humans waited, studied, and ended threats before they became fights. That made them something worse. Captured alien crews were analyzed from a distance. Humans did not interrogate them. Their fear told enough. They spoke of invisible pressure, of space turning against them, of death without enemy ships in sight. Their stories spread across secure channels. Each retelling sharpened the truth. On Earth, defense councils reviewed human history. The pattern was clear. Humans had always hunted dangers, not enemies. Disease was hunted. Natural disasters were hunted. Even their own mistakes were hunted and controlled. War, to humans, was not glory. It was cleanup. The galaxy struggled with this idea. Most civilizations fought wars for power or territory. Humans fought to remove risk. Once the risk was gone, they stopped. That was not how conquerors behaved. That was how predators managed their environment. A secret galactic meeting formed among several advanced races. They compared notes on Earth. Every data point supported the same conclusion. Humans avoided attention. Humans struck only when forced. Humans ended threats completely. One delegate spoke what others feared. They do not fight to win. They fight to make sure the fight never happens again. Near Mars, human systems shifted patterns. The wreckage field was slowly changed. Not cleaned. Adjusted. The debris was positioned to send clear sensor echoes. Anyone approaching would see it long before they crossed the line. It was a warning built from remains. The alien commander, still trapped, observed these changes. He understood now why humans did not speak. Predators do not warn prey. They let the environment teach the lesson. Across Earth, military training changed quietly. New simulations were added. Not larger battles. Smaller, smarter threats. Humans prepared for enemies that learned. They assumed future attackers would adapt. That assumption alone put them ahead. The galaxy watched Earth closely now. Some expected demands. Tribute. Territory. None came. Earth did not expand influence. Trade offers were ignored or delayed. Humans were not interested in ruling others. They were interested in being left alone. This unsettled many. Power that wanted nothing was unpredictable. An ancient observer race released a short statement to select civilizations. Predators that do not seek territory are the most dangerous. They protect their space, not expand it. The phrase spread like fire. Maps were updated again. The solar system was no longer marked as a frontier. It was marked as a boundary. Within the alien empire, internal collapse began. Confidence was broken. Generals questioned doctrine. Engineers questioned design. Their ships had been built to overpower defenses, not survive environments that fought back. Earth had turned space itself into teeth. Some alien factions argued that humans should be destroyed before they grew bolder. Others argued that humans had already reached their final form. Debate led to delay. Delay led to survival for Earth. On Earth, a human commander summarized the situation simply. They now know what we are. That knowledge will stop more fleets than weapons ever could. The alien commander prepared his final record. He described humans in careful words. They are patient. They hide strength. They wait for certainty. When they strike, they do not miss. He ended with a warning. Do not provoke them. You will not see them coming. The message leaked. It reached traders, pirates, explorers. Stories spread faster than fleets. Fear became policy. Human society remained unchanged. No statues were built. No heroes named. Most people never knew how close extinction had come. This was intentional. Fear within was as dangerous as fear without. The galaxy finally accepted a new truth. Humans were not victims waiting to be saved or conquered. They were predators who chose restraint. That choice was not weakness. It was discipline shaped by survival. Near Mars, the silent battlefield remained. Not as a sign of victory, but as proof. The aliens who came to end Earth had taught the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. Some worlds shouted their power. Earth simply waited. Time passed, but the wreckage near Mars did not drift away. It stayed where it was, held by forces no one else could see or control. What had once been open space became a field of broken ships, frozen fire, and silent screams. Mars, once ignored by the galaxy, had become a name spoken with caution. Explorers who scanned the area from far away saw shapes that made no sense. Ships were bent inward. Hulls were folded like thin metal sheets. Some vessels were cut cleanly in half, not burned, not blasted, but separated as if space itself had decided they should no longer be whole. This was not destruction. This was judgment. The galaxy slowly accepted a hard truth. The alien armada had not failed because it was weak. It had failed because it had crossed a line no one was meant to cross. Mars was not defended by fleets. It was defended by certainty. Once the invasion passed that point, its end was already decided. On Earth, human systems continued to monitor the graveyard. Nothing was left to chance. Any movement, any signal, any shift in debris was recorded. Humans knew that curiosity would bring visitors. Some would come to study. Some would come to test. Mars would teach them all the same lesson. Small probes from distant civilizations approached the edge of the debris field. Most turned back immediately. Their sensors screamed warnings their creators did not fully understand. A few pushed closer. Those probes never returned. They did not explode. They simply stopped existing. The galaxy took notice. Mars earned a new title among star travelers: the Silent Wall. No announcement had been made. No warning broadcast. The name spread on its own. Every trader, pirate, and explorer learned it quickly. Do not cross the red line. The alien empire that had launched the invasion collapsed further. Entire systems withdrew from shared space. Fleets stayed docked. Their leaders argued endlessly, but none could offer a solution. How do you fight an enemy that does not come to you, does not chase you, and does not show itself? The captured alien commander watched Mars from his darkened bridge. He no longer felt anger, only regret. He saw now that Mars was never meant to be a battlefield. It was meant to be a marker, a quiet line drawn by a species that had survived too much to take chances. He recorded one final message, not for his leaders, but for history. "We did not face an army," he said. "We faced preparation. Mars is not their shield. It is their warning." On Earth, this phase was called stabilization. It meant no more active strikes, only observation. The human defense network shifted into a long watch mode. Energy use dropped. Systems slept lightly, ready to wake instantly. Humans did not relax. They never did. Civilian life continued without disruption. Earth did not militarize openly. Cities did not change. Spaceports remained quiet. Humans did not want the galaxy to see fear or pride. Normal life was the strongest signal they could send. Across the stars, strategic academies rewrote textbooks. Mars was studied again and again. No clear weapon was identified. No single system explained the destruction. The conclusion was always the same. Earth's defenses were layered, adaptive, and patient. Any force entering blindly would be dismantled piece by piece. Older civilizations finally spoke openly. They admitted they had underestimated humans. Some had watched Earth grow from the shadows. They had assumed self-destruction would come first. Instead, humans had mastered control over chaos. That mastery was rare. Mars became sacred ground in an unexpected way. Not holy, but final. A place where ambition ended. The galaxy learned that not all boundaries are marked by walls or fleets. Some are marked by silence and absence. Human commanders reviewed long-term projections. The graveyard would remain for decades, maybe centuries. It served its purpose better untouched. It was evidence that could not be argued with. A young human officer asked why Earth did not clean the wreckage. The answer was simple. Because memory fades. Warnings remain. The galaxy adjusted its behavior. Trade lanes bent away from the solar system. Diplomatic messages became careful and respectful. Earth had not demanded this. It had earned it without asking. Mars stayed red and quiet. Beneath its dust, nothing had changed. But above it, space itself carried a new meaning. This was where arrogance ended. This was where the invasion died. The fleet that came to end Earth never reached its target. Instead, it built a monument of failure around a dead world. Mars did not fight. Mars did not chase. For a long time after the battle near Mars, Earth said nothing. The galaxy listened anyway. Silence had become louder than any broadcast. Every sensor pointed toward the solar system. Every analyst searched for signs of movement. None came. Earth remained still, watching the galaxy watch it. Inside secure human networks, debate continued. Some believed it was time to speak. Others argued silence had already done the work. Words, once released, could never be taken back. Humans understood this better than most. They had watched careless messages start wars on their own world. The decision was not rushed. It never was. Humans studied the galaxy's response patterns. Trade shifts. Fleet recalls. Border closures. Fear was spreading, but it was controlled fear. That mattered. Avoidance was safer than hatred. Earth did not want enemies united by panic. Weeks passed. Then months. Finally, a small signal left Earth. It was not strong. It was not repeated. It did not demand attention. It was simply placed where the galaxy would eventually find it. The message was short. No threats. No pride. No explanation. You entered restricted space. This engagement is over. The galaxy froze. Analysts replayed the message thousands of times. Some expected more. Coordinates. Conditions. Demands. Nothing followed. Earth did not elaborate. The message stood alone. For many civilizations, this was worse than a threat. It suggested finality. There would be no debate. No second chance. The line had been drawn, and it had already been enforced once. The alien survivors near Mars received the message too. For them, it was not mysterious. It was confirmation. The humans were not angry. Anger fades. Humans were finished. Across the galaxy, reactions differed. Young empires panicked. They reinforced borders and recalled scouts. Older ones moved carefully. They recognized the tone. This was not a warning. It was a statement of fact. An ancient council reviewed Earth's message in silence. One elder finally spoke. They did not announce victory. They announced closure. Earth's communication systems returned to silence. No follow-up messages were sent. No invitations offered. Humans waited. They had learned long ago that restraint after force mattered as much as the force itself. The galaxy tested this silence carefully. Small probes were sent near the outer edges of the solar system. None crossed the Mars line. They reported nothing unusual. Earth did not react. This confirmed something important. Humans did not attack curiosity. They attacked intrusion. Diplomatic channels slowly opened from distant worlds. Messages were polite, cautious, and indirect. Earth responded rarely and briefly. No alliances were formed. No technology shared. Earth's position remained clear. Respect the boundary, and there is no conflict. Human society remained largely unaware of the message. Governments kept details classified. The public did not need to carry the weight of the galaxy's fear. Life continued as normal. This was not secrecy. It was protection. Across the stars, storytellers began to shape the event. Some painted Earth as monsters. Others as guardians. Most agreed on one thing. Earth was not like other powers. It did not rise. It simply existed, immovable. The captured alien commander listened to the message again from his powerless ship. He finally laughed, a quiet sound filled with bitter respect. "They spoke once," he said. "That was enough." Human analysts reviewed the impact. Fear had peaked, then stabilized. Trade routes avoided the solar system. Military planners marked Earth as untouchable. This was the desired outcome. Attention without obsession. Distance without hatred. One human strategist summarized it in a single report. "We did not speak to threaten. We spoke to end conversation." The galaxy learned a new rule that day. Some messages are not invitations. They are conclusions. Beyond known space, watchers took note. Earth had passed a test many species failed. It used power, then stopped. It spoke, then stayed silent. That balance was rare. As time moved on, Earth's single message became legend. It was quoted in academies and whispered in spaceports. It was studied for what it did not say. Earth had finally spoken to the stars, not to introduce itself, but to close a door. And the galaxy, for the first time, understood that some doors were never meant to be opened again. The galaxy did not unite against Earth. It pulled away instead. That choice defined the new age of space. Fear, when shared carefully, became restraint. After Earth's message, no empire wanted to be the next lesson written in debris near Mars. Trade guilds rewrote routes overnight. Star maps changed. Entire regions of space shifted their flow to avoid the solar system. This was not ordered by any council. It happened naturally. Fear did what laws could not. Military powers reacted more slowly. Generals hated uncertainty. Earth offered no doctrines to study, no fleets to count, no speeches to analyze. Only absence. That absence forced planners to imagine worst-case scenarios. Imagination, unchecked, always favors caution. Galactic councils met in emergency sessions. Some demanded a coalition strike before humans grew bolder. Others argued such a strike would be suicide. The wreckage near Mars was replayed again and again. No one could explain it fully. Attacking what you cannot understand was not strategy. It was panic. An elder from a long-lived race ended one debate with a simple question. If we strike and fail, who survives to regret it? The room went silent. Fear reshaped policy. Exploration near human space halted. Research stations were moved. Sensors were turned outward, not inward. Earth became a blind spot the galaxy chose to keep. Human analysts observed these changes quietly. They had predicted them. Fear was safer than anger. Fear discouraged action. Anger demanded response. Earth preferred distance. Some younger species resented this shift. They believed fear gave Earth power it did not earn. Small groups formed radical theories. Humans were bluffing. The Mars event was exaggerated. These groups were watched closely by wiser minds. A minor fleet from a fringe world tested the boundary. They did not cross the Mars line. They powered weapons and waited. Earth did nothing. Hours passed. Then days. The fleet withdrew. The test proved something important. Earth would not strike first. Earth would not strike second either. Only intrusion triggered response. This knowledge spread. Fear became precise. Avoid the line and survive. Cross it and vanish. Simple rules stabilized the galaxy more effectively than treaties ever had. Within the alien empire's remnants, collapse accelerated. Their failure at Mars had broken the myth of dominance. Systems declared independence. Fleets fractured. Earth had not destroyed an empire directly. It had removed the illusion that held it together. Across Earth, long-term defense planning continued. Humans' new fear faded with time. New generations would question old warnings. That was why systems were designed to adapt, not rely on memory alone. Older races began teaching new doctrines. Silence as strategy. Restraint as power. Earth became a case study. Not to imitate, but to understand. The captured alien commander was finally moved. Humans did not torture him or interrogate him. They stored him. Observation continued. His existence itself was data. How an enemy reacted after defeat mattered. He recorded a final personal note. The galaxy fears humans, he said. Not because they are cruel. Because they are careful. Galactic culture shifted subtly. Songs, stories, and myths changed tone. Heroes who charged blindly fell out of favor. Thinkers, planners, and survivors were praised instead. Earth had influenced the galaxy without intending to. Human leaders debated whether this fear would turn into hatred. History warned it might. Precautions were taken. Defensive layers were strengthened. Diplomatic patience was extended. Earth prepared not for war, but for misunderstanding. As decades of starlight passed, the solar system remained quiet. No fleets approached. No probes crossed the line. The galaxy chose fear, but it was a controlled fear, shaped by evidence rather than imagination. One ancient scholar summarized the era in a single sentence. The galaxy learned that day that some worlds do not need to conquer. They only need to endure. Fear became the new balance. Not chaos. Not peace. A careful distance. And Earth, still silent, accepted it without comment. For centuries, the galaxy had not noticed every detail of Earth. Most civilizations observed only what they could measure: fleets, power, influence. But some had always watched from the dark, ancient beings whose lifespans outlasted stars and whose knowledge spanned galaxies. These watchers had seen Earth grow quietly, survive disasters, and rise without claiming the attention of others. They had predicted that one day humans would prove dangerous, but even they were surprised by the precision and patience of the young species. The watchers had no need to interfere. They understood natural order. They had seen countless civilizations destroy themselves through pride, impatience, or carelessness. Earth had survived all of these trials. Climate collapse, nuclear tension, global disease, internal conflicts, even the minor wars of neighboring colonies, all were passed without total annihilation. The Watchers knew this was not luck. Humans learned. Humans adapted. Humans endured. When the alien armada appeared near Mars, the Watchers observed silently. They did not communicate. They did not act. They simply recorded and waited. Other civilizations panicked, fleets scrambled, and governments issued orders. Humans waited too, but their waiting was deliberate, calculated, and effective. The Watchers recognized that this was the difference between a species that survives and one that dominates. As the alien fleet was destroyed, pieces drifting across the Martian orbit, the Watchers spoke among themselves for the first time in millennia. Their voices were not heard but felt across the void. "They are not conquerors," one said. "They are survivors." Another added, "And in survival, they have become something more." They analyzed every sequence of events, every hidden weapon, every silent maneuver. Humanity had transformed the battlefield into a lesson, a warning, and a demonstration of control without raising a single public alarm. The Watchers had long predicted that humans would eventually be noticed, but the manner in which it happened was unusual. Humans had no desire to expand aggressively, yet they had proven that crossing them would be fatal. They had rewritten the rules of engagement for the galaxy without sending a single ambassador or raising a single fleet. They had created an invisible line stronger than any wall, stronger than any army. Mars was no longer a planet. It was a marker, a memorial to arrogance and folly. Across space, the alien survivors tried to understand what had happened. Their theories failed. They could not account for invisible weapons, for systems operating in perfect synchronization, for a species that did not reveal its strength until it was too late. Their pride had blinded them. Earth had used their expectations against them. The Watchers noted how prediction, expectation, and hubris became the tools of the hunted when the hunter remained patient. On Earth, humans continued their daily lives. Governments did not parade their victory. Scientists continued research quietly. Engineers maintained systems that no one outside the planet could see. The population remained unaware of the full extent of the alien defeat. This was deliberate. Humans did not need recognition. They did not crave glory. They understood that restraint itself was a signal of strength more profound than fireworks and speeches. The Watchers began to record patterns of human behavior, tracing decades of growth and subtle preparation. They noticed how humans planned for disaster before it arrived, how they turned adversity into knowledge, how survival was always more important than pride. To the Watchers, humans were an example of evolution's final step, a species capable of controlling chaos without succumbing to it, capable of shaping its environment without domination, capable of ensuring survival not through conquest but through cunning, patience, and discipline. Galactic civilizations slowly began to grasp this, but only through whispers and indirect reports. Traders, scouts, and messengers told stories of the silence, the precision, and the discipline of humans. These tales grew into legend. Still, the Watchers remained detached, watching the humans not as observers of a threat, but as witnesses to something rare, a civilization that had survived every test without being seen as dangerous until the moment it chose to be. The Watchers also observed that humans were unlike other predators. Most powerful species claimed their dominance loudly, displayed their victories, or expanded territory to remind others of their strength. Humans did none of that. They measured, prepared, and only acted when necessary. Their strikes were final, but their restraint was longer-lasting. Mars was a graveyard, a warning, and yet it was silent. This duality fascinated the Watchers. Strength paired with patience was rare. One elder of the Watchers commented, "They do not seek to dominate, yet dominance is what they achieve. They do not threaten, yet no fleet dares approach. They are not conquerors, yet none can conquer them." The word spread among the Watchers, and all agreed, humans were something new in the galaxy, a species whose survival strategy made them predators in ways that few could fully comprehend. The alien commander, still a captive of circumstance, recorded his final message to his own species. He spoke of what the Watchers already knew: humans waited. Humans studied. Humans endured. And when humans struck, it was not for glory, not for conquest, but for certainty. That certainty, he realized, was more terrifying than fleets, than weapons, than firepower. From their hidden vantage points, the Watchers continued to observe Earth. They saw that humans were not merely reacting to threats, They were shaping the galaxy's perception of their strength. The silence, the restraint, the patience, all communicated a message louder than any fleet could deliver: do not challenge us unless you are ready to vanish. And in that quiet observation, the Watchers understood something profound. Humans had rewritten the rules of survival. They had demonstrated that patience, cunning, and preparation could be more lethal than raw power. They had shown that true predators do not chase. They wait. They learn. They strike only when the outcome is certain. Earth continued to live normally, unaware of the eyes that watched from the dark, unaware of the legends that now spread across the galaxy. The Watchers recorded everything, knowing that one day, perhaps, humans would need to be remembered not just for what they had done, but for what they had become, a species that survived, endured, and mastered the rules of the universe without ever declaring war. In the end, the Watchers concluded, the galaxy had underestimated humans. That mistake would shape the future. Humans were not merely survivors. They were predators who chose patience. They were hunters who did not hunt. And in that paradox, they had become something no one had expected, and no one would forget. The galaxy changed after Earth's first encounter with the alien armada. What had once been a solar system like any other became a zone marked in maps, whispered in starports, and remembered in the strategies of every fleet. Humans had not sought war. Humans had not sent fleets beyond their orbit. They had simply survived and acted when threatened. That lesson alone reshaped centuries of planning and expectation. Fleets that once patrolled the outer regions of known space were withdrawn. Explorers and traders learned to give the solar system a wide berth. There were no signs of treaties or enforcement. No galactic law demanded avoidance. The choice was voluntary, born from fear, observation, and the quiet understanding that crossing Earth's line was a risk too great to take. Within human society, life continued unchanged. Cities bustled. Children played. Scientists experimented. Governments maintained defenses and observed the cosmos quietly. Humanity did not declare victory, build monuments, or demand recognition. They had no need. The galaxy already knew. Their restraint had spoken louder than any message or fleet. The alien empire that had once sought Earth never recovered its pride. Surviving factions were cautious for generations. Even minor fleets avoided solar space. The lesson of Mars and the invisible forces the humans had unleashed became a warning repeated by every commander, every pilot, every scholar. No one wanted to test a species that could end entire fleets without stepping foot on their planet. Earth's reputation was now carefully observed but never challenged. Stories spread of how the alien armada had vanished. The battlefield at Mars became known as the Silent Graveyard. It was studied in secret, debated quietly, but never approached. This reputation served humans better than armies ever could. It was protection built not on aggression, but on perception and certainty. Ancient watchers who had observed Earth from the shadows recorded the era as a turning point. Humans had achieved dominance without expansion, respect without demand, and deterrence without confrontation. The galaxy learned that some species wielded influence differently. Power need not roar to be absolute. Silence, patience, and precise action could shape entire civilizations. Even as fear stabilized across the stars, humans remained vigilant. They did not rest on reputation alone. Defense systems were upgraded, older technology refined, and new contingency plans prepared. Humans assumed the galaxy would eventually test them again. They prepared not for pride, but for survival. Each system was layered and adaptive, designed to respond instantly without revealing its full potential. The alien commander, still remembered in scattered reports, finally accepted the truth. Humans were not just survivors. They were predators who understood patience. They acted only when necessary, striking with finality and restraint. His own empire had underestimated them, and that mistake would never be repeated. He documented what he had learned, not for revenge, but as warning for others. Across the galaxy, civilizations adjusted permanently. Borders shifted to accommodate caution. Exploration slowed. Ambitious races paused to study the consequences of even minor incursions. Earth had set a precedent. Intrusion could be fatal, even if it seemed harmless. That knowledge reshaped galactic behavior far more effectively than any treaty or demonstration of firepower. Earth itself remained unchanged. No fleets moved outward. No colonies were built. Humans did not flaunt their strength. They returned to the rhythms of life. Their message was implicit: respect the boundary, and life continues. Cross it, and survival is uncertain. The galaxy understood. For generations, no one tested Earth again. Legends grew quietly. Stories of the Armada, the destruction at Mars, the silence of humans spread across space. They were not used to intimidate or boast. They were whispered warnings, case studies in strategy, and cautionary tales for those who might forget. The lesson was clear: humans do not need to conquer to be feared. They only need to endure. Even among younger species, the memory shaped behavior. Pilots avoided certain coordinates. Scientists recommended caution. Military planners considered the unseen and unexpected. It was no longer enough to measure strength by fleet size or weapon power. Strategy now required considering patience, preparation, and the unknown. On Earth, the population remained unaware of the full effect. The galaxy's fear was not broadcast. Humans did not need it to be. Their reputation had already done the work. Life moved forward in its quiet, deliberate way. Systems remained active, ready, and adaptable. Humans had learned the final rule: the strongest defense is control and readiness, paired with restraint. The galaxy learned a final truth about humans: they were not conquerors. They were survivors. They did not seek glory or expansion. They only sought certainty. Any who ignored that certainty paid the price. The universe remembered, and no fleet, empire, or ambitious species dared test Earth again. Mars remained a silent sentinel. The graveyard of ships was never cleaned. It became a reminder not of human pride, but of consequence. It marked the place where arrogance ended, where preparation triumphed, and where no one would cross without risk. Travelers spoke its name quietly: the silent graveyard, the line that should never be crossed. As centuries passed, humans continued to live quietly, observing the stars, maintaining their systems, and preparing for threats that might never come. Their restraint became as important as their strength. They had shown the galaxy that true power does not always announce itself. True power waits, watches, and strikes only when the outcome is certain. And so, Earth remained untouched, respected, and feared. The galaxy adjusted, fleets rerouted, treaties written with implicit acknowledgement of its power, and explorers kept their distance. No one attacked Earth again. Humans did not pursue conflict. They had survived, endured, and established a reputation stronger than any fleet could enforce. In the end, the galaxy learned one undeniable fact: strength alone did not define danger. Discipline, patience, preparation, and the willingness to act decisively when needed created power that was eternal. The alien armada had come to conquer Earth and failed. Humans had not sought war, but they had ended any threat before it began. The final line, whispered across every star system, became a lesson for generations. The galaxy screamed for help, and Earth answered.